No, Sirski, that was not what it was giving. It was another lesson.
It was
okay.
It was a whole other lesson, and that's fine because guess what? It brought me to the journey where I am now, and I'm finally realizing that I am becoming her.
You are now listening to The Mental Breakdown.
All right, we had a little struggle, but we're here.
Hello, technical difficulties
because we have a lot of stuff on our computers, but we are here. Hey everyone, it's Earth to Asia and
Journey with Jazz.
Welcome back to The Mental Breakdown. And today we are talking about
the art of releasing to evolve and grow and become your best self.
And so I think we titled this You Niggas Gotta Go.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think I would like to start this with, it's giving, let's start talking about, not necessarily, I guess, relationships with people, but not necessarily like deep, exclusive relationships, but just relationships in general. Mm-hmm. And just, I guess, knowing when it's time for you to like bounce. Like, when do you typically... I didn't even ask you how you're doing today. I feel like I just jumped into everything.
You didn't jump into the conversation, but it was okay. I was going to go with the flow. But today is a wonderful day. It's Sunday. Usually I'm at work, but I'm off today. I have some other things I needed to do. I'm playing basketball. I'm, just taking the day to reset, do the things that I like to do instead of being at work all day. And stressed out because I work at, if those of you who know, I work at this place called First Watch, and it gets very busy on Sundays because it's a brunch place. So everybody wants to come to brunch on Sunday. And it gets real hectic in there. So my Sundays are usually composed of just like being stressed out and, just trying to get to the bag. And today, we chilling, relaxing, talking, having fun. So today is top tier for me. What about you, Aisha? How are you?
I'm doing well. As you see, I had to slow myself down. It's because we had a lot going on just a second ago, and we actually are really just trying to get this done, trying to make sure everything is out for you guys. But I'm gonna slow down and kind of inform you guys why my background is a little different today. So I'm actually in Richmond, Virginia today. That's where I am recording, and that's where I'm from. So typically I'm in Maryland, but today I'm visiting family. So I'm in Richmond, Virginia. And when I record in Richmond, this will be my space. So this is in my room, and I call this like my little cozy corner. So yes, got my books here and like my little bookcase and stuff, and my little bean bag that you can't see, my little cozy corner. I got some paintings behind me, but yeah, so I'm doing well, Jasmine. And you see today the color is black.
Big purr.
You haven't noticed, we like to coordinate in our little episodes. So yes. Now I'm ready to get into the topic.
What's your question about when do you know when it's time to just like release and let go? I think for me, it's this intuitive feeling that I get. I will just, or I'll just peep that if we're talking relationship wise, I'll peep that person is starting to move differently. Right. So like, for instance, like I was just having this conversation with the guy that I kind of been involved with, and he just started acting different. Hadn't really talked to him like all week. Hadn't spoke to him. And I had just asked him like, are you trying to distance yourself from me? Because this is not like you. Like I talk to you every day. You pull up on me every couple of days. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not together, but it's kind of a mutual understanding about what's going on. So it was like, well, you're moving different. So, are you trying to distance yourself from me? He was like, no, like, why would you say that? I'm like, well, you've been doing this and that, and you haven't been doing this and that. And he was just like, well, my intentions are kind of changing around life and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, whatever. Then I got to thinking about it. I'm like, okay, like I haven't spoke to you in a week. I haven't seen you in a very long time. So obviously I'm not included in that. So it's time for me to dip. Like, if I'm not a part of that, if I'm not going to be, I don't want to be a priority because like I said, we're not exclusive. We're not together. It's just, some type of situation, no relationship type of thing. But I was like, if you're not going to, at least give me an hour, 30 minutes of your time a day, then it's just like, what's the point? So then we had a conversation and, we just came to an understanding that, he was moving different. It was a little different than before. And he kind of brought me back to the place where it was like, I'm on this type of vibe, but I haven't forgot about you. I just been trying to get my stuff together. So in that respect, I haven't really let the situation go, but I was ready to. Like, I was like, if you're not ready to give your time and energy the way that I want my time and energy to be taken or to be respected, then there's no point, and it was no bad blood. It was no bad energy. You don't have to leave in malice or upsetness. It was just like, I know what I'm worth, and I know that you valued me this way at one point and now you don't. So it's cool.
Yeah.
Just gotta go, you know what I'm saying? So I think when people start moving different, or you just get that vibe that things are just not right. You just gotta listen to that. And a lot of times I think even as women, we're so emotional that it's hard for us to let go of things because our emotions are attached to it, So I think that might be the hardest part, is getting over the emotional part.
And I just want to say, like, me knowing some of the background stuff, I'm very proud of you for, finally making that jump and making that decision to go ahead and, do what you had to do and do what was best for you in that situation. Because, you don't want to be uncomfortable within a situation that you're no longer, I guess, on the same track or in the same mindset with the other person, whether that be friends or whether that be relationship things, especially relationship, intimate relationships. So I'm proud of you.
I appreciate that. And the moment, because girl, when I tell you, I took this whole paragraph and I was like, I'm gonna send it. And I was like, well, Jasmine, what are you afraid of? Like, stand up for yourself, speak up for yourself. Like, this is how you feel. This is where you're at mentally. And if that's how you feel, then that's valid. I feel like a lot of times in the past, I was silenced, or I silenced myself. And it's like, no, and I think part of that was the fear of like, okay, he's going to hear me out and not be reciprocated and not be reciprocal or understanding of where I'm coming from. And it is going to end. But I'm like, if it's supposed to end, then it's just supposed to end. Yeah. And, so I was like, girl, if you don't just send that message, and I sent it, and I was like, oh, what did I just do? But
back to the situation, a past situation, when my intuition and like my rational brain, you talk about like how women are emotional and everything, like how my rational brain literally got fed up and like just typed out like, what?
And we're talking about the same situation.
I just typed it up and was like, send. And then afterwards, my emotions and everything else was like you just said, what did I just do? But like, that's what I knew really needed to be said. It needed to happen, And then afterwards, I'm like, trying to still have this conversation with this man, even though I already said what I had to say. I was already clocked out for real. But it was the after emotions that, I had to go through after that, oh man, like whatever. But I'm so happy that my rational brain, because for a very long time in that one situation, I was in like a cloud, a thick cloud. I couldn't see everything that was going on, but I'm so happy that my rational brain was able to move that smoke for a second and say what I had to say, because it just had gone on for way too long. And I can even speak on it now that it was like psychological abuse, emotional abuse, dealing with narcissistic, tendencies and stuff like that, that my brain, like to the point I wasn't talking to family members about it because I knew that
it wasn't right,
and it was gonna get a reaction from them. But I just that's a whole nother situation. But I'm just so happy that my rational brain was able to be like, Asia, you got to get out of here, because it's way past due. There have been several red flags. It's time to go. So yeah, that's why it's like, it's so genuine when it comes to me, when I'm telling you, like, I'm so proud of you, because I know that sometimes it can be hard and difficult.
Hard, especially like when you're involved with a man emotionally and even like physically, like it can become very hard when you get involved with the man physically, because now you've had this, not just this emotional connection, but it's this energetic connection that you have now. And so I think that was another piece for me where it was like, the emotional connection was just stronger because we did have that physical connection. So yeah, letting go of relationships with people, especially men that you care about and they showed you the good side of them. Your mind kind of always goes back to that person. But it's like, no, ground yourself in the here and now and the present. And it's like, that man is not the same man that you met however many months ago.
Yeah.
So time to let go. And I think even when it comes to relationships with things other than people, like bad habits or self-sabotage and self-doubt and all those things, like that gotta go. The way people, or the way I used to move in fear, that gotta go. Like I still feel very fearful. Like even to this day, like with this podcast, it's like it's a fear, I guess subconscious or unconscious fear that, you know, people aren't gonna listen, people aren't gonna like it. I think we talk about things that, or we have a perspective that when I listen to other podcasts, I don't really hear people talking about, or we talk about it in a different way. And I'm like, are we doing this the right way? And it's like, yes, you are doing it the right way because you are doing it your own way.
Right.
And so just constantly evolving and growing my mentality to say, I'm doing what I need to be doing, and it's my way, well, our way. And, you know, let go of that self-sabotage and let go of the fear that it's not going to work out, or it's not going to be something that people will gravitate towards. Because I think both of us are kind of starting to walk more in our purpose, and in doing that, you can't go wrong.
Right.
So
I think fear and anxiety goes hand in hand a lot of the time. So I think for me, the big thing that I had to let go a while ago, you know, I'm pretty good at it now, and I know how to manage it now. But the thing that I had to let go was anxiety. And kind of going back to this podcast, I had a thought about it. I think it was yesterday, or maybe even today. And it's just like similar to what you were just saying, like, you know, the way that we talk things out and the way that we, you know, think about things is just different than the average perspective, at least from the people that we know or grew up around and whatnot. But I think that that's our superpower within this. I think that you need something that's different and unique. You know, we don't need the same.
for sure.
We don't need the same thing over and over and over again. You know, it's going to take time for us to build to build this brand and build our listeners and our fan base and everything. But I think the thing that helps people, I don't want to say blow up, but the thing that helps people gain more audience is being different and being unique.
And consistent, you know? And I think the consistency part is to keep beating down that fear of people aren't going to listen, you know? Like for me, it's like at least with YouTube, it's like keep posting videos, keep making videos, because you only have so many followers or viewers right now, but you keep going 6 months from now, it could be a whole different story, you know? Things change like that. Like it's crazy. And so I think the biggest thing, like you said, is uniqueness, but I think also consistency. People will gravitate towards you when they see that, you know, you're serious. They see that you care.
Sure. Especially when you have people saying that, and you know, we've already said this in a previous podcast, but when you have people in your ear saying, oh, you're not going to do it. Literally telling us y'all are not never going to do this podcast. And look at us now, we're sitting here doing it. You know what I mean? And like it's about consistency, and that's what we will continue to do. Sometimes it's going to be hard to do it, you know, to get up and just do it. Sometimes it's going to be like, come on, Jazz, you know, we got this, whatever. But it's about being consistent and like you said, walking within our purpose and knowing why we're doing this and sticking to the plan.
And I think going back to you talking about, you know, people in your ear saying you can't do this, telling you can't do that, I think those people are projecting that fear and that self-sabotage from within themselves onto you. And then you have a choice whether you're going to subject yourself to that and listen to that and take that in, or let that shit go and move where you need to go, move how you know that God has designed your purpose and your path to be. So that's another form of like really watching, and we talked about this before, and it's so important, but really watching who gets your energy and where you put your energy out too, and who you allow in your space. Because like you said, you allow people like that to come in your life, you wouldn't do nothing. We wouldn't be doing this if either one of us listened to that, or if either one of us said, you know what, maybe we should just wait because we need to have this right, and then we need to do this, we need to do that. And it's like, no, like we used to be in the same dorm room. Now we live 4 or 5 hours away from each other, and we still found a way to get it started and to keep it going and things like that. So yeah, I think people will try to subject you to their own self-sabotaging and fearful thoughts, and those are energy vultures, and they gotta
Yeah. So I have this thing in my head that I do want to talk about. It's a sensitive topic for me. You are very aware of this situation.
I'm about to say, what are we talking about?
Very aware of this situation, so you'll know what I'm going to talk about, but it's a very sensitive topic. So as we talk about it, I know your thoughts and your feelings on it, but let's just try to keep it a little calm, just a little bit. We don't want to get too deep how we be, how you and I be on the phone.
Okay, keep it calm, cool, collected.
But I want to get on the topic of friends. When you know that certain things either need to be kept at a distance,
Yeah.
When things just is I don't want to say the time is up, but that it just needs to be kept at a distance. So we can start with you, and then I can, come in with that.
Sometimes I feel like friends are way more important than relationships. I think that, as far as the friends that I have, I look at them as my tribe, like the people that I keep in my corner. I know that I can depend on them and I can count on them. I can call you, I can talk to you whenever I need you, right? And then there are those people that I have come across and met, and I thought they was my friends and I thought they were going to be a part of that. And lo and behold, really, they're complete opposite. And I think when it comes to friends, the biggest thing for me, because I think we're all busy, we all have lives, we all have things going on. So a lot of the times me and my friends, we don't talk for months on end. But when we do talk, we do link, like it's always up. But I think that on guard with other people, because you just because like we're just best friends and like we got that connection. But as far as acquaintances or friends that don't know me as well and didn't live with me for 4 years and things like that, I think I definitely always have to keep a guard up. At least that's for me. I feel like that's the safest way to go about it, because you just never know people's intentions. And I watch certain people, like especially when we started this podcast, and like, are they supporting us? Are they, at least liking things or following us or things like that? And it's becoming apparent to me, some people aren't who I thought they were. And not to say like, they need to support us or they need to do this, need to do that. But it's like, if you were my friend and you truly cared about me and, we had this value system where you valued what I was into and you valued where I'm trying to go, I feel like you would be a part of those things, YouTube, podcast, be it whatever, support. And so I always look at my friends and I watch how they support, because I feel like I'm always that giving friend who's always going to give support. I'm always going to show love. And if it's not reciprocated, then they got to go too. I think the biggest thing is definitely reciprocity. If you can't reciprocate the energy that I'm giving, because I'm always hand out love and support and good vibes and all that handy dandy stuff. And if you can't reciprocate that, then what are you here for? Why are you around? Some people, like I have friends where we just go out and go to the club. I wouldn't really call them a friend then, you know what I'm saying? It's more like an acquaintance. I'm not saying that that's not cool, that's not fun, but when it comes down to purpose, comes down to elevating, comes down to getting the things done needed to get done to move to the place where you want to be, they're nowhere to be found. So it's like definitely keeping boundaries with certain people and knowing the boundaries you have with friends, acquaintances, and anybody else that falls in that category.
Yeah. I think sometimes friendship breakups are sometimes harder, than intimate relationship breakups.
For sure. I think especially with you though, with your friends, because they were friends for so long.
So long, right? We're talking middle school. So some elementary school, right? So that's why I say it's a sensitive topic for me. But I think the big thing for me as far as friendships it's more so realizing that, you know, everyone is different, right? Everyone has their own way of doing things. And instead of outcasting that person and not listening to when they're talking about something that, you know, may not align with what you know, want in life or what you're doing, or just certain things that you're into, you know, if you're a friend, you're not gonna just, you know, that person's talking, you're not just gonna like cut them off and kind of like push them into the background, you know what I mean? Which I feel as though that would happen a lot, you know? And so this is sensitive for me. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me, just realizing that, you know, and that's why I like to have friends that are on similar paths as me and that are into similar things as me, and view the world in a similar way as me, because I feel like I'm able to relate to them more. But at the same time, you know, it's okay. It's also okay to have friends that don't share every single aspect, everything that you're into. That's okay as well, as long as they're still able to like, okay, well, everybody's different. Oh, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm glad that you're into that. Tell me more, teach me more. But when you have people who aren't able to, I guess I don't want to say not able to dig deeper, but are not interested in digging deeper, you know, and learning about what you are talking about, you know, and kind of just shutting you out and acting as if you're an outcast and acting as if what you're doing is like so out there or, you know, like weird, you know, then it's like, all right, well, I guess you got to go because you don't align with me, you know, for one, you don't align with where I'm going. And then when I'm saying, okay, well, that's okay that they don't align with me, you don't even try to like understand me or relate to me, you know? So then at that point, it's like, you know,
like, I mean, that just, to me, it just sounds like a lack of respect. Like, and there definitely needs to be a mutual respect level. Like, I can't, yes, you're different. Yes, you're not like me, but I respect your lifestyle, respect what you're into. I respect what you got going on. And like you said, like, I may not be into it, but I'm down to listen. Like, I have friends who are like into anime and stuff like that. And no, that's not me. But I'm down to watch an episode with you if that's what you want to do. Like, if we can have good conversation, if we can kick it, and you know, our conversations aren't just gossip and full of talking about other people and, you know, things like that, then we can get down. We're cool. You know what I'm saying? And you can have your different desires and likes and all that stuff, and that's cool.
And I think older Asia or younger Asia, I think when I was still trying to figure all of that out, like, okay, like trying to relate to my friends a little bit more, I would fall into kind of, you know, doing that, you know, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of like, you know, I guess I don't like to talk about people, but if they're sitting there talking about people, I kind of, I guess, jump in it, and that's how I'm relating. I'm talking about people, which is not cool because that's not me.
But if you think about it also, like, your friends, from my perspective, it's like you changed a lot since the beginning of y'all's friendship.
Yeah.
So in you changing, you evolving, and you moving in a different direction, it was almost like you needed to break off and separate from them anyway, you know? And I think, like you said, you had this long relationship with them. So of course, like, you're going to see the good in them. You're going to see the fun in them. You're going to want to hang out with them. But it came to a point where I feel like you felt like you weren't even in the group anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it was the group, and then there was Asia on like the outskirts, and like they let you in the door sometimes, and sometimes they didn't. And when they did let you in the door, they still was looking at you like, okay, well, we'll just keep her, you know, in the corner, you know? And I don't think that was, like you said, that whole situation just really does not sit right with me, you know? But I think that was a good learning lesson for you, is to understand, like, when you start to grow and you start to move in a different way, you got to start letting go of people and letting go of things. And it's not always easy, and it's not always fun. Like,
it's definitely a little, like I said, a sensitive topic, and it's kind of a bittersweet situation. You know, I'm proud of myself for being able to, after a long time, of feeling a certain way, a long time of feeling a certain way, and like, still being in that situation, still being, there, trying to understand certain things. I lost my train of thought. I'm proud of myself, for breaking out of that. But at the same time, it's bittersweet. It's sad sometimes too, because it's like I've known them for so long, and I also have had very good memories with them, and there are certain things and characteristics and memories and times where you could say like, that was a good friend. That was a good thing that they did for me. It felt very warm. It felt like sometimes it felt like I could come to you and talk to you. But I think the fact that it was like a back and forth for me, not consistent sometimes, sometimes I would feel that way. And then sometimes I would feel like that outcast. I would feel weird, which turned into me not liking the word weird. I don't like calling people weird because people are not weird. People are just different. Mm-hmm. Everybody does not have to be everything that you see on Instagram, or everybody does not have to be just what everybody is doing, what's trending and whatever, everybody does not have to dress that way. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's the inconsistency that was just like, all right, and really for me, what I remember is just being silenced, Mm-hmm. I think that's the thing that kind of that always sticks with me, and that what I remember the most is that I would talk about something specifically. This is something kind of like small, but it meant something to me. Remember, I wanted to get a turtle for the longest time. Now I have my turtle Franklin, for the longest time, I wanted to get my turtle Franklin. And I remember like we were just walking around. I was with some of my friends and we were walking around. And I was like, so yeah, and mind you, by this time we had went to college. So we went to separate colleges and stuff like that. And we didn't update each other every single time. So when I would talk to them, it would be a new little update or whatever. And so I was like, yeah, they were talking about something or whatever, something totally different. And I brought up that I wanted to get a turtle. I was like, yeah, I want to get this pet turtle and I want to name him Franklin. And in the middle of me speaking of that, I get literally cut off. And I like, look, I'm like, I'm talking, I'm speaking, literally said it out of my mouth. I'm speaking. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, so what I was saying was, so I want to get the turtle and I want to name it, cut off again. Mm-hmm. Mm. I'm looking again. And the other friend is just looking like, and continuing the conversation with, and I'm just like, even though what I'm talking about is something that's not something huge, but it's
it's the principle.
Me, it's the principle, you know what I mean? Why? Or, they never understood why I never liked to drive, right? Sometimes I just don't like driving all the time, but it was a bigger thing too. I've sat down and I've tried to like think about certain things over time. And I realized that I never wanted to drive in that friend group because I remember one time where, and they're going to probably, well, never mind, it doesn't even matter. But I remember one time I was driving, and I think this was back in high school, and everybody was in the car. I think we like went to the mall or something. And I remember, looking back, like trying to like talk to them or like joke with them or something or laugh about something. And they kind of just like looked at me. And they kind of were having their own conversation as I was driving. I just felt like a driver. So that kind of relates back. That relates to the whole entire time why I did not want to drive. It was more than me not just, wanting to just sit in the car and have somebody else drive. It was more than that. It was because of an experience that, happened a while ago, that I had to sit and think about like, dang, why, and I thought about that. That's exactly why, because I went through that situation where I did not feel comfortable. I didn't feel like I was a part of it. I felt like I was driving y'all.
Yeah. And I feel like when you let go of things, that's when you can see more clearly. It may not always feel good, but you can see the situation more clearly. Like I've let go of certain relationships with people, and talking specifically about the last guy that I was talking to. And I let go of that situation because I'm like, something about this is just not right. Like I like you, like we're cool, you treat me very well, like that was never the issue, but something about it just did not strike me right. And it took for me letting go of that situation for me to realize that there are just certain qualities out of men in particular that you just have to have when it comes to me wanting to be in a serious relationship with you, and he just didn't have that. And I felt so bad for so long because he was a great person. Like nothing, he was a great person. He did nothing wrong. He did nothing disrespectful. It was just certain things where it was like, this is not going to work for me. And something intuitively was like, this is not working. This is not going to, you got to stop. And, I just, and like you just let it go on and on and on and on and on until you just can't take it anymore. And I want to get to the space where it's like, you get that one message and it's like, all right.
Right. It's in its boundaries. And
the discernment.
I am at this point. I'm at that point now, where I can clearly see certain things and it's like, all right, goodbye.
Yeah.
At that time period with friendships, with relationships, I think we can kind of go into that now, the type of relationships where you kind of circle back, it's kind of like a cycle, because I've had my fair share, of experiences as far as that as well. So I think I have experience of, something to talk about or add to as far as that. But yeah, I feel a little like, I think I feel a little bit lighter after I just talked about that.
Yeah, I think maybe it seemed like when you were talking about that situation, it was the first time that you really processed it out loud.
Yeah. Oh.
And you process it, to yourself, or you maybe journal or whatever, but to really talk about it to somebody else and to kind of get somebody else's feedback and perspective always puts in a new perspective, at least for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just feel like that situation, you just, because I could see the brain, the wheels turning like, oh, this happened. Oh, but this happened. And then, you know what I'm saying? So I think,
yeah.
No, I think it was a perfect moment for you to just reflect and release. Like you say, you feel lighter. And that's another thing. When you really start to let go, you start to realize and recognize the emotional and energetic drain that some things just have on you. And when you let it go, it will be like, dang, like I could have been feeling this free this long and I was over here,
Yeah.
I think there's a certain amount of freedom that definitely comes with letting go.
But now I would like to let everybody know I do have friendships that I feel as though that truly, genuinely value me as my different, free, whatever, spirited self. I have valued friendships, and genuine friendships. I've made new friends. I have Jasmine, my best friend. So as you can see, we are very similar and we align perfectly.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I would like to get into this conversation about the cycled, relationships that you realize had to go, you let it go and then you bring it back.
See, I don't really, as far as like relationships with, a romantic partner, I don't really have that. Usually it's like, okay, you gotta go. Or like they'll just break it off of me. And it's just like, okay, well, I guess that's done. But especially with friendships, I think friendships are the hardest thing for me because I will realize that I need to let you go. And then it's like, well, dang, I want to call this person and tell them about this. Or dang, like I want to go out and do this with them. This person would love this, such and such, such and such, And so with friendships, at least for me, I always find myself cycling back and just allowing things, I guess, from friendships because they are friendships. So it's not like you're in my space, you're in my face 24/7. So I guess for me, it was like, okay, well, I'm not really involved with this person often. So, they can come around when it's good for them to come around. But even that sometimes is not necessary because it's like, I should be able to have you around or have conversations with you about certain things all the time and not just be selective in what I talk to you about or what we do together, So friendships are definitely hard for me in that respect with the cyclic.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can speak on intimate relationships. So Jasmine knows I've only had, well, now, if you see on my Instagram, I have a boyfriend now. I do. I have a boyfriend. But I've only had one other boyfriend. And we'll get more into the current boyfriend later in this season or maybe next season, probably this season. but I've only had one other boyfriend, and that boyfriend, like a long time ago, we would always like cycle back, not necessarily get together, but we got I think we got back together one time after we broke up, but we constantly would cycle back and kind of like check in with each other. Like because during college is when we would do that. Like during breaks or stuff like that, when we both were home, like in Richmond, we were like, hey, how you doing? So it first started with like, I think breaks, college breaks. And then it went into like every year or every couple months, then every year.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just eventually just, yeah. But I don't think that was healthy at all, because it's like, I remember some of his last words to me was like, why, kind of like, just, why are we doing this? Like, why is this cycle happening? I'm kind of tired of it. It's getting old. And I was saying the same thing too. Like, it's getting old. I'm tired of this cycle. What's the point of it? And I think for me, and I let him know this too. Like, for me, I kind of kept checking back, like, to see if he was mature enough, if he matured, like, are you ready? Like, you ready? Because we had always talked about possibly getting back together. Like, oh, what if, like, we finish college and then we get back together or whatever. And so I think that we kind of always had that in the back of our mind. Maybe that's why we were cycling back. But as time went on, it seemed like his respect for me declined, and yeah, so that was that.
Yeah, and that's weird because I remember that situation, and it was like you were talking about him, and then at some point you just stopped talking about him. Like, it was just like, who like, does he even exist anymore? Like, so I definitely remember that, and I was like, because I do remember it going back and forth, and I was just like, I don't really know. Ends, things will come back together for us, and blah blah blah. And I was like, okay. And then, like I said, it just stopped. Like, it just was like, okay, well, it just ended.
I think it ended later than what you think. Like, you think it ended in college? Well, it did end in college. Definitely ended in college.
No, but I think
like
the whole thing. Yes, like
it was not. It was even after sophomore year.
I
mean, like, I wasn't seeing the man. We weren't seeing each other. But like, check in, like, hey, how you doing? Then it stopped.
Oh yeah.
Then we stopped, like, saying happy birthday. Like, that just stopped.
Wow.
Yeah. But no, like, it lasted a little bit after that sophomore year, like, checking in.
Well, no, I think I did know that, but I think, like, literally just he doesn't even exist anymore. Yeah. Was like senior year, maybe.
Yeah, like senior year, it was like,
all right. Yeah, like, like, okay, that's cool.
I think the last time I remember, it was like, I want to say when COVID first hit, because I don't know about you, but some people was like texting me, like, I don't know, like, what's gonna end up happening, but I just wanted to check in, did you have that too?
Girl, like, it was just people coming out the blue. People just had time on their hands. Just time.
I don't know what's happening, so I just kind of want to talk.
It's just, I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you and how much you benefited my life. No, keep going.
Yeah.
Stay where you was at. No, you don't need that to come back.
I think that was the last time that we spoke. It was that check-in, and then after that, it was like done. I believe
it was it. That's it. That's all. Well, I'm glad that we've officially let that situation go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's all I really had for the topic on today. I mean, just recognizing, where you want to be, where you're at, who is in your space, and are they really benefiting you? Your relationship with
you? Are they aligned
with you? And not just even people. Are your habits aligned with you? Are the things that you're doing on a daily basis aligning with what you want to be and where you want to go? If not, it's time for some reorienting, some check-in. So yeah, girl. I guess the last thing for today would be the tip of the day.
Yeah. So I think my tip of the day would just be to find your purpose. And if you already have found your purpose, know your purpose and stick to your purpose. And if the people that are in your life do not align with that purpose, or don't even,
Add
to your your purpose, or add to the path, then I would say, just recognize that those people probably, it's time for them to leave, off your path.
I agree.
That would be my tip.
I think my tip would be to go with the flow. Don't force things. Don't try to make things what they're not. Don't try to push certain agendas on people or on yourself. Go with the flow, stay within your lane, stay within what you know is right and what you know you need to be doing, and just move with that. I think a lot of times when I know I need to let go of something, I put up a resistance, or I put up a wall where it's like, no, this is going to go the way I want it to go, instead of just moving with the flow and moving with the way that it's supposed to go and it was designed to go. So I say, yeah, just move with the flow, go with the energy and what, is presented to you, and everything should work out just fine.
Beautiful. And I would also like to say, as we build our listeners, I would really like to build, a true relationship with our listeners, a very genuine, safe place for us and our listeners. And I would like to say, thank you for allowing me to be vulnerable with you all that are listening, and I guess people not just being nosy on here, but just actually like being just listening to me and hearing me out and allowing me to be vulnerable and be in my space, to just talk about the things that might be sensitive towards me, because this podcast, yes, some days it's funny, yes, some days it's very serious, and some days it's a very like sensitive, vulnerable space. So thank you for listening to that, and just letting me be comfortable within my space and within our podcast.
For sure. We love that. Safe space for everybody and anybody. This will be uploaded to YouTube. So y'all drop your comments about how you feel about letting things go. You can always comment to us, and if you want to talk about things like, we're always down for the cause. So
yes,
this is a safe space.
Letters and like stuff like that. So we'll start that soon. We want to create a vulnerable, safe space for you guys too. So yep.
Absolutely.
All right. Jasmine, would you like to do our closing?
I guess so. You can always follow us on TMBD official on Instagram, the Mental Breakdown Podcast on YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram at journey.w.jazz, and you can follow Asia at
2Asia, the number 2.
And yeah, we'll be back with another episode next week. And we can't wait to talk to y'all soon.
Yes. All right, guys. Peace. Talk to you next week.
Peace out. Thank you for tuning in to the Mental Breakdown Podcast. Please rate, subscribe, review, and follow us on Instagram at TMBD Official. See you next time.